Greetings everyone, Baldus here. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back bringing you some Season 2 content for Diablo 4. To start off, I've got a 1 to 50 Druid leveling guide here for you, so you can get a strong start into the season. We will be going with Lightning Storm as our core skill, paired with the Overcharge aspect from the Mariner's Refuge dungeon found in Skosglen. Clear the dungeon as soon as possible, and once we drop a rare necklace and have gathered the required materials, we can then imprint it at the enchanter. The Overcharge legendary aspect synergizes really well with lightning skills, as it offers a significant burst of damage, especially during Cataclysm, which we will take as our ultimate, helping to clear dungeons super quick. For the most optimal Season 2 leveling, we'll be running and resetting the first part of Domhain Tunnels dungeon, as it has crazy mob density. This instance can be found to the north of Kerrigar in the Skosglen region. At around level 20, after collecting some spirit juice, it's time to complete Durla Stronghold and the Druid questline for spirit boons, located in the far west side of Skosglen. Then return back to the Domhain until we are ready for the Capstone dungeon. You can do this at around level 45 and should be pretty comfortable. And then once completed, head into T3, and once again we're back to the Dopamine Tunnels until Nightmare Dungeons. After doing some practice runs on the Druid, Lightning Storm feels by far the quickest for leveling and doesn't require many aspects to get going, making it perfect for those early levels. In the next part of the video, I'll be going over the build planner in depth and outline some key tips for leveling and 50+. Here we're on the build planner from defaultbuilds.gg, and if some of you are not familiar with this, I use it for all my guides as it has some great tools and it's very easy to follow. I would like to outline some key areas here and go through each of the tabs so you guys don't miss anything when using it for yourself. Firstly, I'll go through the skill tree tab, where we have the leveling path. Just tick this box here to bring up this left side, and this will show you where to put your skill points as you're leveling up. It's important to note that you shouldn't be following the skill tree, as this is just the final form of the build, so this will be for level 50, whereas the leveling path will show you what to take and what to take out as you're leveling up. So the main focus in the early levels is maintaining good spirit generation, and that's why we're picking up Bloodhowl. So Bloodhowl on its third perk gives us 20 spirit every time we cast this, and synergizing with the second perk, when we're clearing lots of monsters like in Domhain Tunnels, we're gaining 1 second cooldown reduction every kill. So we're getting this back up very often to give us that 20 spirit. Additionally, we're also getting 20% max health every time we cast this as well, so it's good survivability early on. Additionally, for spirit generation, we're going to be taking Trample as well later down the road. This grants us 40 spirit every time we cast it, and additionally Trample has a CC break and a bit of Unstoppable, as well as a good burst damage when needed. So with spirit generation being very important early levels, we want to maintain that until we can get our keystone passive, Perfect Storm. So Perfect Storm gives us 1 spirit every time we deal damage with a storm skill. So this obviously is working with Lightning Storm and then also Hurricane as well. So every tick of Hurricane, we're getting that 1 spirit as well. So that's the keystone passive we want to take first, and I'll talk about later on when we get certain aspects further down the road. So obviously all the other perks are necessary. Circle of Life is always really good for leveling, especially as we get a bit higher when the mobs start hitting harder. This gives us good healing sustain, as every tick of Lightning Storm will give us 3% max health heal. Additionally, we want to be taking all the lightning perks and for the storm skills, which give us vulnerable damage, duration of Hurricane and Cataclysm. We're going to be taking Cataclysm for our ultimate, as it's just great for clear, applying vulnerability on this final perk, and really good lucky hit chance to proc a lot of the lucky hit stuff on these perks. Overall, there's a lot of synergy in the Druid's kit for lightning builds, and that's why we're taking it early on as our leveling build. So just to note, as we get further into our levels, we are eventually taking out Bloodhowl for some more survivability through Earthen Bulwark. Although, depending on how you want to play and how it feels, you can just keep Bloodhowl as well. So if you're looking at this thinking, oh, why has he took out Bloodhowl? You can just keep it if you prefer that as well. So next we're going to have a look at the Gear and Skills tab. So don't focus too much on this, as this is just like optimal gear if you get really good RNG with legendary aspects or something. This is just like a guide for some of the aspects that'll be good if you manage to drop them. The really good one is the smiting aspect. So this gives critical strike chance to injured enemies, and then also increasing the crowd control duration when our character is healthy. So that's just more immobilized duration and the critical strike chance against injured enemies. This especially synergizes really well with lightning dancers when you get this aspect, as even though it's against an injured enemy, we're still getting those critical strikes which spawn the dancing bolts, which then can kill other enemies that are at full health, etc. So smiting aspect, not many builds run this, but really, really nice for leveling on this build. Additionally, another key one is the overcharge aspect. We can get this really early on because it's a dungeon aspect, so we don't have to rely on a drop. We can just complete the dungeon, and then we unlock it, and then we can put it on a necklace. It's really good for single target and AoE clear. When we pop Cataclysm, because it gives us a bunch of lucky hit chance, we get really nice procs of overcharge, which helps with that boss damage, which isn't really that good innately on a Lightning Storm build. Additionally, Rune Workers is really good. Charges the air around us, giving us lightning bolts periodically, which deal a really nice amount of damage. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, these are just, if you get them, equip them kind of thing. It's not important for leveling. I've done up to T3 with just a single legendary aspect, and it's really easy, so don't worry about the aspects. Additionally, another thing not to worry about too much, but I put it in here, is the vampiric powers. We don't really know how easy it's going to be to get these early on, but I put them in here anyway for the ones that I think will be good. So Bathe in Blood, this is the channeling one. So you form a pool of blood beneath you, and you gain increased damage and damage reduction while inside the pool. So of course, for a Lightning Storm, you're channeling it, you're standing still, especially something against bosses where you can just stand still and maintain your cast. This is just really good damage and damage reduction. Another really good one, if you can get it early on, is Undying. This is gonna make our build, a Lightning Storm build, pretty much unkillable, because the amount of casts you do of Lightning Storm, every tick, we're going to be gaining 3% life and then 6% life while we're below 50% health. It's just going to be an insane amount of healing, especially when you combine it with something like Circle of Life, which is already giving 3% max life. You know, at 50% health, you're gaining 9% max life every tick of Lightning Storm, which sounds pretty crazy to me if it does work like that. And then Sanguine Brace. This is the Fortify. Every kill we get, we fortify 6% of our base life. Remember, that is base life, so it doesn't seem like it's going to scale off maximum life like the other stuff does now. But even so, it should be pretty easy to get full max Fortify using this Vampiric power. And you also gain that 8% crit strike chance when you have 45 above 50%. Just a really nice one. So once again, if you can get some of these early on while leveling, then sure, get them. But the way I think Vampiric powers work, you're going to be switching out gear a lot. So I don't know if you're going to be bothered to apply the Vampiric power to each piece of gear you take off. Onto the Spirit Boons now. So Spirit Boons early leveling, it's a bit different. You want to be taking just the first few. when you fully max out them, you want to be taking the damage reduction from elites, and then the double on the eagle, crit strike chance and crit strike damage. Energize for the wolf, which gives us a lot of spirit generation. And then for the snake, we want to have overload, which is a really nicely buffed now. It's 40% chance on lucky hit, so it's got a good chance of proccing. As you level up, you might want to change crit strike chance to calm before the storm if you get a lot of lucky hit chance on your gear and have enough crit strike chance, but it's not going to make too much difference. It just allows you to cast Cataclysm a bit more. Just finally, for the gear, when you're leveling, the only thing you really want to look out for is crit strike chance and lucky hit chance on this build. Don't try and min-max gear while you're leveling, because you're going to be switching out so many different pieces of gear a lot of the time. But just look out for that crit chance, lucky hit chance. It will give you a boost in damage if you can acquire that. So next we're just going to have a look at the Paragon board, just so you guys can understand how it looks in this build planner. Obviously this isn't going to be a thing until you're level 50 and you get into T3. But that's when you start getting Paragon points. And now I've just put something on the Paragon board here, just so for the guys that are leveling up quickly, they can start following this. We're probably still taking Exploit as our first glyph, as vulnerable application is going to be hard early on. The one big change is the new glyph for Lightning Storm, and that's Electrocution. This seems like it's going to be a really juicy glyph once you get a Lightning Dancer's aspect and Runeworker's Conduit. So that's gonna add a lot of damage to our Dancing Bolts and Lightning Bolts. And it also applies a 20% multiplicative increased damage from you for 5 seconds, which is just crazy. It's a massive glyph for Lightning Storm that's going to make it a really strong build this season. So yeah, don't worry about this too much. This is just for after level 50 into level 70 plus, you know, kind of area. So don't worry about that too much. Then finally, we have the build notes. So if you don't want to look at the video and listen to me talking, just look at these notes. This will tell you the optimal leveling route. So number 1, we're going to complete the vampire quest to unlock the system, just so we can start getting the items and you know, the juice and stuff to make the vampiric powers. Also collect herbs en route as always, just so you can upgrade your potions. And then we're going to be getting our overcharge aspect, and then we're going to be starting to run our Domhain tunnels until level 20 to 25, clear our Druid dungeon stronghold, and then do the quest to unlock the spirit boons. I've put down the distribution for the early spirit boons when you only have like 200 spirit juice. So that's just the best distribution early on, and then you can go back once you have the full amount to unlock everything and get the bonus. So you still want to do Domhain tunnels if you want to level optimally. Of course, you can level however you want. You can do a number of things. You can do quests. You can do other dungeons. You don't have to follow this. That's just the optimal leveling speed if you want to be as fast as possible. Then at around level 45, you can then go and complete the capstone and enter T3. Then you just go back to Domhain tunnels, and then it'll be nightmare dungeons from there once you've got your sacred gear. So just to go over, make sure you imprint your overcharge on a rare necklace when you have enough mats. So I mean, this could be around level 20, you know, before you do the stronghold. It doesn't have to be early on, because it's very easy to clear everything early on. And I just want to say we are doing world tier 2 as well. So like I said before, stats are not important, but look out for lucky hit chance and crit strike chance. Legendary aspects also not necessary at all. Like I say, you can complete the capstone easily with just the overcharge aspect on the necklace, and that can be obtained by everyone without any RNG. Paragon board is, yeah, like I said, complete for level 100. It's not fully optimized, so don't follow that by the T if you're leveling up that quickly. I will update it as I learn more and see what's best. But that's just a basic guide if you want to follow it. Just something to note for one of the perks. Abundance is where our auto attacks give us more spirit generation. So if you're struggling with spirit gen, you can take that over Nature's Reach, which is the damage against distance targets. And then at later levels, if you manage to obtain the Mighty Storms aspect, and you have lucky hit chance, crit chance gear, you can switch to Earthen Might Keystone passive. And this does give a massive boost in damage and clear speed. So unknowns, Season 2 journey rewards are unknown. This is kind of annoying, as last time for Season 1 we knew what legendary aspects we were getting for each tier of Season Journey, so we could build a bit around that. So this time we don't know anything about what we're getting, so I can't base the build around that. And then vampire powers early on, like I mentioned, no guarantee, or is it worth to get if you want to level fast. And then, yeah, like I say, Skull or Diamond gems, not sure what's better yet until we play the game a bit. So yeah, overall, I mean, I've done the testing. Lightning Storm by far the quickest leveling build for Druid. It's there's nothing that really compares to just the speed it clears, and the fact that it doesn't rely on any legendary aspect drops compared to something like Pulverize, where you kind of need your Shockwave legendary and you need your Umbral aspect as well in order to get decent consistency with clear and everything. So yeah, overall that's going to be my Season 2 1 to 50 build. Similar to Season 1, I mean, we're still sticking with Lightning Storm, but that's just the way the skill is. It's just a really good skill and doesn't rely on too many things to get going. So just to note, I am going to be streaming again at Baldus Maximus on Twitch. So we're going to be going hard early on. We're going to be leveling quick and trying to get those levels in, get into T3, T4 as soon as possible. Trying to make those endgame builds and testing a lot of stuff. So if you want to hang out, if you play Druids or any other class, just feel free to come and join and have fun. We might have a few groups going for leveling if you fancy, so come and join and just have a bit of fun. But thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next videos coming up. Cheerio.